You know what nobody tells you about success? It doesn't collapse because of failure. It collapses under clutter. Every ambitious entrepreneur eventually finds themselves buried under their own brilliance. You start with clarity, you build momentum, and then, somewhere between scaling and survival, everything gets heavy. The offers multiply, the systems multiply, the strategies multiply, and suddenly your business feels bloated, like it's wearing all its old versions at once. That's the moment when refinement becomes your most profitable move, because refinement is the secret ROI no one's measuring. Everyone loves to talk about reach, visibility, expansion, but the real return comes from editing what's already there. Refinement isn't minimalism, it's mastery. It's what happens when you stop chasing what's next and start elevating what's now. We had a client, a high-performing consultant, who came to us exhausted. She had 7 different offers, 3 separate websites, and a spreadsheet that looked like a Jackson Pollock painting. She said, "I feel like I'm running 10 companies and none of them are profitable." We asked her one question: which offer feels like oxygen to you, and which ones feel like obligation? She paused, then whispered, "I already know the answer. I just haven't had the courage to simplify. We cut everything except that one core offer. We rebuilt her visuals, rewrote her positioning, realigned her messaging. Within 6 weeks, her sales tripled. Within 12, she was working half the hours. That's the ROI of refinement. Every layer you remove multiplies the value of what remains. Luxury brands have known this forever. They don't compete on quantity, they compete on discernment. Hermès doesn't need 200 handbags to dominate the market. They need one, the Birkin, and decades of discipline protecting its mystique. Refinement is the courage to protect your focus the same way. Because when you refine, you're not losing variety, you're gaining velocity. A founder once said to us, "I'm scared refinement will make me look smaller." We told her, refinement doesn't make you smaller, it makes you specific. And specific is what sells. People don't pay premium prices for more. They pay for precision. And precision is the most luxurious value proposition there is. The irony is that refinement is one of the hardest decisions for ambitious people, because we equate complexity with importance. You think, if I simplify, maybe I'll look less impressive. But the opposite is true. Refinement is a signal of power. It says, I know what matters, and I'm not distracted by what doesn't. When you start refining your systems, you find your time again. When you refine your visuals, your credibility doubles. When you refine your messaging, your conversion rate often triples, not because you added a trick, but because your audience finally gets it. That's what refinement does. It removes friction from the buying process. It takes you from trying to convince to simply confirming what your audience already feels, that you're the obvious choice, because clarity feels like confidence, and confidence sells itself. We had another client, a boutique agency owner, who felt trapped in operations. Her brand looked busy but not elevated. Everything worked okay, but nothing stood out. We overhauled one thing, her presentation. She didn't need a rebrand. She needed refinement. We restructured her service flow, simplified her offer suite, and cleaned up her site to feel like a luxury gallery, not a grocery store shelf. Within a month, she signed her highest-paying client to date, without changing her ad spend, without posting more, without shouting louder. Because refinement raises your perceived value without changing your workload. It's leverage disguised as elegance. And here's the kicker. Refinement doesn't just pay you in profit. It pays you in peace. When your business feels lighter, you show up differently. You're sharper on camera. Your copy sounds calmer. Your energy communicates control. That's what people are buying from you. Not the deliverable, but the discipline behind it. Refinement is what tells your audience, this brand has standards, and standards are magnetic. Because most people are tired of chasing chaos. They want to buy from someone who's already mastered calm. That's why the ROI of refinement compounds. It doesn't just elevate perception, it deepens loyalty. Your audience stops seeing you as another expert and starts seeing you as an institution. Every refined detail, your tone, your visuals, your messaging, becomes proof of the experience you're promising. And that's how luxury operates. The proof is in the precision. So how do you know when it's time to refine? When your growth feels noisy instead of natural. When your audience complements your content but not your clarity. When your offers start to feel like clutter instead of opportunity. That's your signal. Refinement isn't a redesign. It's a redefinition. It's the process of eliminating everything that doesn't represent your highest standard. And the return on that decision is exponential. Because every refinement you make echoes across your entire brand ecosystem. Your systems breathe easier. Your audience trusts faster. Your team finally knows how to articulate what you stand for. Refinement creates alignment, and alignment creates acceleration. That's why the fastest way to scale isn't to add more funnels. It's to refine the ones that already convert. Because when everything in your business communicates the same standard, it feels inevitable, like success has already been decided. That's what we mean when we talk about magnetic brands. They don't chase, they attract. They've edited out anything that breaks the spell. That's the ROI of refinement, authority without effort, demand without desperation, and it's available to anyone willing to trade ego for elegance. So if you've been grinding harder and feeling smaller, maybe it's not about doing more. Maybe it's about doing less, better. Simplify your structure, polish your presentation, tighten your message. Refinement turns your business into a signal, not noise. And in a world drowning in noise, signal is everything. When you refine, you stop being another option in the market. You become the obvious one. That's what high-ticket clients pay for. Not the promise of hustle, but the proof of harmony. Refinement makes your brand look like what they're already dreaming of. Calm, composed, inevitable. And the moment you embody that energy, your audience mirrors it right back to you. They start showing up differently. They start buying differently. Because refinement doesn't just change how they see you. It changes how they see themselves in relation to you. That's why the ROI of refinement compounds. It's self-perpetuating. You refine once. Your results refine themselves. So if you're ready to scale not through chaos but through clarity, start by refining your foundation. And if you need the shortcut, the templates, the frameworks, the strategies we use to help entrepreneurs like you elevate without overwhelm, you'll find everything you need below: our template shop, our private training, and our signature program. Because in a marketplace obsessed with more, refinement is the rarest luxury left, and luxury by definition is what people pay more for.